When the Wright brothers arrived at Kitty Hawk, they hadn't been focusing on how things stayed on the ground. Rather, they'd been contemplating the elevation of things moving in the air. So because they and others like them were willing to seriously think about something that didn't yet exist, air travel was brought into our reality system. Contemplation is the mental activity behind all inventions, indeed behind all of creation. Consequently, I urge you to become fully conscious of how you choose to use your mind. It's important that you understand that you can create the life you desire by concentrating on what you wish to attract. Once you master the ideas surrounding this concept, you won't want to use your mind for the purpose of excuse-making. Instead, you'll prefer to use it to really consider what you want to manifest into your life and then visualize it as coming true. The principle of contemplation is also what motivates human progress in cultural, political, and social contexts. For example, the idea of slavery being a horrible stain on the spiritual nature of humankind was realized by one person first, and then another, until the practice was finally abolished. The idea of women having the same right to vote as men was also conceived in a few minds before becoming a reality. These notions were contemplated first, and their destiny fits this sentiment from Victor Hugo. There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Contemplation and attraction. The excuses you tend to rely on probably include some ideas that you've contemplated throughout your life to date. Yes, even thinking it will be difficult, or I can't afford it, or I don't deserve it, is engaging in what Aristotle called the highest form of activity. The more you ponder the impossibility of having your desires show up, complain about life's unfairness, and get upset about what continues to manifest, the more those very things define your reality. That's because whatever you focus on invariably shows up in your life, be it what you want or what you don't want. So if you're always thinking or talking about what's wrong with your life, then you're attracting exactly what you don't desire. Choosing an excuses-be-gone approach means that you absolutely refuse to participate in the self-defeating rhythm that I just touched on. You learn to move into a new realm where your thoughts are viewed as potential realities, and it's your sacred duty to contemplate only that which originates from your authentic self. This is something you can begin to work on right away. I learned a long time ago from one of my mentors, Abraham Maslow, that self-actualizing people never use their minds to think about what they don't wish to attract. They don't worry about an illness getting worse, an absence of funding, or a downturn in the economy affecting them, a negative outcome in a business venture, their children getting into trouble, and so on. Their minds focus on the conditions they wish to produce. Then the lucky break, the right people or circumstances, or the synchronistic opportunity somehow presents itself as a result of their contemplation. We all become what we think about, so it's pretty important to pay attention to those thoughts. And keep in mind what Aldous Huxley once noted, that contemplation is that condition of alert passivity in which the soul lays itself open to the divine ground within and without, the immanent and transcendent Godhead, he called it. It's as if by thinking about what you desire, you release a zillion little invisible yet alert worker bees who guide you in the action of creation. Rather than being focused on a lame excuse, you use your mind to align with the all-knowing, transcendent Godhead. And when you use your mind in this way, miracles begin to show up. The point is that when you engage in the act of active contemplation, you set in motion a powerful force. You allow yourself to be lived by the great universal mind or Tao. And I have no doubt that as my daughter continues her contemplative work, eschewing any excuse patterns and keeping all of her mental activity on what she intends to manifest, she'll see this kind of an occurrence showing up regularly. What she does with it and where it will go are all wrapped up in what she continues to contemplate. The mechanics of contemplation. Both Aristotle and Aldous Huxley offered us wonderful insights regarding the principle of contemplation. They both explain how the very act of reflecting on an idea, any idea, sets the process of creation into action. This is an integral component of living an excuses-be-gone life. As we know, Aristotle wrote, contemplation is the highest form of activity. And Huxley hit it on the head when he reminded us that the very process allows our soul to open to the divine guidance that operates within us and everywhere in the universe simultaneously. I've also been greatly influenced on this subject by a brilliant scholar named Thomas Troward. In 1910, he delivered a series of lectures that became books. which forever change the way we look at the process of creation and manifestation. His writings can help us understand the power of contemplation, particularly in relationship to creation itself. I urge you to read his remarkable treatise, The Creative Process in the Individual. In the foreword, Troward writes, quote, "In the present volume, I have endeavored to set before the reader the conception of a sequence of creative action commencing with the formation of the globe and culminating in a vista of infinite possibilities attainable by every one who follows up the right line for their unfoldment," unquote. In the subsequent pages, he relates that the entire cosmos was created by self-contemplation, and infinite possibilities are available if you follow a pertinent sequence of creative action. This is all attainable for whoever is willing to follow up the right line, if you will. Troward asks you to get the steps of the creative process clearly into your mind as they relate to contemplation, and then watch excuses melt away and see the results of your efforts.